Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, it's Ed Cohen in San Diego, California, and welcome again to Global TV Talk Show. This is a business service of globalbusinessnews.net. A very special talk show today has to do with how I look. No, how you look.
How we all look.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So you got to be camera ready, okay? Because the whole world is looking at my nose and my beard. And so is it neat or what? You know, do I wear this color teal against the red wall here? Usually, as you know, I wear black a lot because I don't want to show off too much. So here I am in teal, and Diane Devitt from New York area, the Jersey Shore, is in blue today. And Sarah Marissa Simonetti from Connecticut is in very traditional New England preppy look today. And and Dr. Natalie Forrest is in the Baltimore area, and she's in maroon on a gray background. So welcome all.
Thank you.
Okay, so Diane Devitt, what color is this meeting going to be? Is it going to be blue?
No, it's actually going to be a variety of colors, but it'll be focused on anything but bright reds and solid blacks and things that just fade you into a screen. All right.
So now I want to ask you, Diane, and I welcome comments, of course, about yesterday's wonderful program, the inauguration speeches, and two in particular. Yeah, Biden was good, thankfully, but better was a young lady who was dressed beautifully and spoke so elegantly with her flowing hands to accentuate things. And she had this wrap in her head, the red wrap. Yes. And then secondly, Lady Gaga was terrific.
Right.
And she was really super dressed. Now, could you comment, ladies, about those two women and how they looked on camera yesterday for that occasion? Diane.
Would you like me to start? First of all, Amanda Gorman. I mean, what a gift to the world.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Right? We have a Maya, we have a budding Maya Angelou in our presence, don't we? And I became familiar with her a few months ago and just was so taken in by the depth of her work. Mm-hmm. The fact that she came out in yellow, there's two things, the yellow and the red statement, because they're both, yellow, of course, is joy, hope, happiness, and red is grounding. So the colors not only were representing what she spoke about, but they also sparked her youthfulness, you know, and the joy that she was bringing other people. That was my thoughts with Amanda. I loved it. Lady Gaga, she was a walking event. So to me,
fireworks.
She lived up to her brand, which was something different and something unusual, but in true Gaga fashion, because I have so much respect for her, she was respectful to the event. She was graceful. She was total epitome of how she should have handled herself, demeanor, and I think she rocked it.
Yeah, and she was authentic.
Authentic.
Right.
Absolutely. She can carry that. You know, it's not awkward for her. That was my opinion anyway. I loved every minute of it.
Now, I like J-Lo also, but it was a J-Lo. It was just, it was...
Well, but she also, come on, girls, help me out with this, because she wore the white, right,
yes,
Natalie?
I thought it was the white. I love the white on J-Lo.
I do too.
Because with her earrings and it highlighted her beautiful tan even more. So I thought it was a very, plus being a historian as well, was also a political statement wearing that white.
Well, that's my point. It was the suffragist statement. So,
Yes.
you know, the fact that she wore white, she represented women and that's what the statement was for her. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sarah, what do you think?
Yeah, so just to start with the J-Lo, that was to me a continuation of what she'd done at the Super Bowl, where she, on the outside, she had, I don't remember what color it was. It was a solid color. I want to say maybe yellow or something on the outside. And on the inside of her cape, she had red, white, and blue, which, although, you know, our U.S. colors are also the flag of Puerto Rico. So she's, you know, out representing, you know, all of us, including the people of Puerto Rico, who sometimes get marginalized. So
Right.
I thought it was also interesting that she used a couple of phrases in Spanish, or she translated part of the Pledge of Allegiance
yes,
into
she did.
Spanish, which I thought was a great
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that she did. And I agree. The white looked great on her. And then as far as Amanda Gorman, oh gosh, the interesting part is she looks quite a bit younger than she actually is as well. So I think it was even more striking because she really looked like a teenager to me.
Yeah.
But she spoke obviously so eloquently and with so much wisdom. So she definitely carried herself extremely well. And of course, her words will probably go down in history.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and then I thought it was interesting just overall to someone else kind of posted this, and I thought, oh, good, I'm glad somebody else caught it, was that really, if you looked at, there was a spectrum, and obviously they coordinate these things in advance, but it was cool to see sort of everyone had a color. Everyone had, I don't know if they, you know, who chosen first. I'm sure there was some pecking order.
There is definitely a pecking order.
Yeah,
You know,
I thought it was interesting that everyone had a color that they represented, and that they did it with color. It wasn't just, oh, you guys wear, you know,
Black.
tone 4 of gray and you wear tone 5 of beige. You know, they selected colors, and those definitely meant something.
well, yes, from the first lady with her blue, which is, you know, calm, serenity, and blue is a communication color. Michelle Obama, and correct me if, but she had the maroon, which was that like that deep red brown, which again, beautiful,
Vermilion color.
beautiful color on her. All of the colors were fall jewel colors, right? And then of course Kamala with her blue, that was just her blue and purple combination. That's regal, that's royal, that's power. That's a higher entity color, but she carried it so well. I was really pleased to see the palette that the women in prominence wore, and the outfits that they wore, I think made statements for a lot of us moving forward.
So thank
Can
you
I
for
jump
this
in real quick,
dialogue.
Ed?
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sorry to interrupt, but can I jump in real quick? Because I love this conversation, and it always goes like this. This is more in depth. What about the men? So we have Garth Brooks coming up in jeans, which of course is his brand. And I loved how you said that, Diane. You know, everybody wore their brand. And I think Bernie Sanders also wore his brand, if I remember that correctly. You know, so I think we also need to include them in it, because there was also color coding there, or brand coding there, which I don't think we can forget. But it's interesting. And I'm pointing that out because I know you're doing shows on, you know, women as well. It's like we're always focusing on what the women are wearing, but the men are also very careful in what they're wearing.
No,
like, I'm thinking about, you know, later at the Parade of America, I think it was called, right? John Legend also had like that brownish, I don't know if it's called camel coat. I don't know the light brownish color, but it's like everybody had a color. It was really interesting.
Well, to that point, Natalie, if I can call you Natalie.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever you prefer. They took family pictures afterward. And, you know, Chrissy Teigen is wearing bright red. One of her children is wearing blue. The other one's wearing white. And John Legend wearing, I guess we'd call it gold if you wanted to throw those into a sort of, you know, so I thought that was, and I'm sure obviously that was done on purpose as well. And it worked, you know, it definitely worked. So individually they carry themselves, and then as a unit, as a family, something else too.
No, I think you know, yes, and it was obvious. So somebody behind the scenes must have read my book, Ed. I'm kidding. But the thing is, but the point is that it really did make a difference, and it made a statement subliminally that in so many ways, right? It's in so many ways, from a D&I point of view, from a more colorful time, from and so I think, yes, I think you're right. And I did notice even the president's coat last night during the
Mm-hmm.
when he was standing on the balcony. I noticed that deep blue. I watched the ties that the men were wearing. Yes, Garth Brooks is Garth Brooks, and again, that's his brand.
Right.
We'll let him get away with it, as long as Gaga comes out and mystifies us, right?
I know.
Yeah. But
Yes,
even Katy Perry at night before the fireworks
Yes.
there, I mean, that was that whole outfit she wore was almost like a flag. It was
Mm-hmm.
almost, that cape in the back reminded me of a flag, and I thought, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into some meat and potatoes here, and let's see, what kind of potatoes?
Ah,
Let's see, how about garlic fries?
oh my gosh, garlic fries. Well, they have a good taste as long as they're crispy, right? Huh? Right? Right?
So have you had that Beyond Beef burger? It's the rage out here in Southern California.
Yeah.
So Joanne and I go to this place called Jimmy's Famous, which is at Point Loma at the boat marina in the harbor, and you look out on the boats and all that. And so they have this, it's a plant-based burger,
Mhm.
right? It's not a burger, but it looks like it. And they put lettuce and cheese and tomato, some kind of mustardy stuff, and then they bring over a choice of ketchup or barbecue sauce, and boy, it's great. And I just still have a hamburger, but anyway, that has nothing to do with color.
Ed, this is, yeah, I don't have that in my that had nothing to do with color, except it was good. We got you excited inside, right?
Yeah, it's exciting to
Well,
be
but
with
it
you.
actually it does have color
It does.
because it actually bleeds. Like, I mean, that's the weird thing about it, that I'm like, and my family didn't like it, but it bleeds red, like it's still a rare burger. It's really strange. Just want to point that out.
I enjoyed
Well,
it very much. It tasted to me, once you've put the bread and the lettuce and
Yes.
the pickles and you put all that. I mean, to me, it tasted just like a burger. It was really, really delicious. My
Mhm.
the only drawback about the whole thing is that it's like very high in fat. So it's not something that you can really eat.
oh gosh, Sarah, you just blew the whole thing.
No, I'm
You know what I was thinking?
so
What?
excited, and I was like, this tastes great, but it's really not like, it's not perfected just yet. Let's just say.
Well, let me just throw this in. This is interesting how the conversation just segued to that. First of all, it's lunchtime. But secondly, when we were speaking about color and we were getting so excited thinking about the different colors, colors
Mhm.
actually stimulate, and especially the reds, they
Right.
stimulate your appetite. So the pleasure that we were talking about from yesterday triggered the pleasure that you get from that burger, Ed. Just so you know, the subliminal part of it, and colors or not, it's the correlation of this nonverbal communication system we have in our senses, that pleasure is pleasure. And we don't want to go everywhere with pleasure, but pleasure is pleasure, and it gets triggered by different reminders, doesn't it?
And I have an ice cold beer with the plant burger, so it gets you going. Okay, let's talk about having communications on camera.
Yeah,
Diane,
sure.
what is the biggest thing that people should take away from this segment?
All right. So, I first of all, I really appreciate the topic and just being here today, because
Sure.
Ed, I launched this whole program on executive media presence, and the reason I did it is because, look, virtual meetings and virtual presence is here to stay.
Right.
Post COVID or not, it's here to stay. It's an acceptable. We've been given permission to substitute this for live face to face, even though we all know that face to face will never be replaced. But this will augment it, and so it leaves a lot of area for us personally to say to ourselves, how do we want to be perceived online? For what do I want to be remembered? What is my brand? And is it appropriate? Like, is it appropriate for me to have this background when I'm on a Zoom virtual happy hour with my girlfriends?
Yep.
Okay. So we're entering into this world of broadcast, of media, of really new frontiers for many people who are not used to thinking about the power of the camera and the perception and the impression that we make on other people through it. So that's, that's really what prompted me to design, to create this program. Because why? Because most of us are carving a niche in our home, whether it's from a closet or in a dining room, in a bedroom, right? Some of us have proper offices and workspaces, but most of us don't. And I mean, for example, if I showed you where I was working, I am in a space that is no bigger than 6 foot by 6 foot in the corner of a living room.
You never know it.
That's my point. I've got like Star Trek set up in front of me with different lighting, depending on the time of day. Okay. And the shadows and the lighting that I get. But of course, in being in this business and giving people advice and training, you want to have a certain look. So that's what started me with it all. And I found that it's helping people. So that's a good thing. He's dead.
Take your picture.
Everybody pose. We're so Sarah. We lost her.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we lost her. We lost her.
It's not.
Oh, God. Did I scare you away because I
Sarah,
held up
did
the
you?
picture?
Sarah, did you run away after that? I'm really sorry.
I should have plugged myself in before I sat down, but I did not. So you'll excuse me for a moment. I didn't want to interrupt, but here we are.
That's so funny. That's funny. Yeah.
You said photo and she vanished. That's kind of
I
funny.
know.
That's right. So I basically have about 6 areas, Ed,
All
that
right.
I
We have 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm saying is, but I have 6
Okay.
areas. They don't all take a lot of time because we can all
All
have
right.
a conversation about them. That I focus on, and the first one is just increased effectiveness on the screen, which involves your voice, your visual perception, what you look like, and also the video quality, right? So we're all getting more familiar with Zoom or MST, the Teams, or different platforms, and they each have their own nuances. So let me ask you this, Ed. What do you find is the most uncomfortable thing about working? And you're a PR guy, but what do you find is the most uncomfortable element working online? If there is one, or one you're the most concerned about.
I got to go to the bathroom, not now, but if you got to make sure that you can go before.
Right.
because otherwise, you see people squirm or do weird things. It lasts forever, so you have to be careful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
plug yourself in before you sit down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
May I say something?
Yes.
So we were used to being in person and face to face, and literally feeling people's warmth and all that other good stuff. But then we moved online, and that was all new, and people maybe were camera shy at the beginning. And when we leave the house, I mean, even in my own apartment building here, there is a polite policy that you wear a mask, even in the hallways and such, in the common areas. And so even when we are in the same space with other people, all you're seeing is their eyes. Now, I have two points to say about that. So it's interesting when you're on a Zoom call, because now I can see your whole faces, as opposed to if we were in the same space, I would only be looking at your eyes and not your whole, I wouldn't be able to read your lips and so forth. So that's sort of an interesting facet of it. The other facet of it is as well, and I don't know if you all have ever heard of this before, but where you look at someone's face when you speak to them speaks to what type of conversation you're having with them, which I
Oh,
learned.
really? Wow.
Which
Yes.
I learned at a conference. There was a woman who was a body language specialist, and she spoke about this was before masks. So she said, turn to the person next to you, and you have a conversation with them, and then she asked us, were you looking at the person's eyes, their nose, their mouth, or lower? And they correlate to different types of communication, a different type of conversation that you're having with that person. And that kind of blew my mind. I thought, I never, you subconsciously you're doing it, and you may even sometimes know you're doing it, but to have someone sort of give you back the science and that, it was a very eye-opening thing. So now I find it interesting that we're all wearing masks. And so when you're talking to someone, you are not required, but I mean almost required to look them in the eye now, which to
Right.
me is actually sort of a plus.
So what
So,
about
benefit,
if I came on
Yeah.
wearing these?
Oh, well, that's a whole other
Cool.
story.
Well, actually, that would be a lot of fun, Ed, and that comes under the category of props and how they're
Oh,
important
yeah.
and how they're important
And
online.
then I
But
used to wear these, and I said, Ugh.
well, those are very good too. But Sarah, let me go back and talk about your point there for a minute. Do you right now, this moment, perceive that I'm looking at you?
Yes.
Okay. So, but I'm not. So right now I'm looking at about 1 inch below my camera. Now, if I were looking at you now on a Zoom screen versus an MS Teams, you have the ability to go from a gallery view, speaker view, different views, double click, see people. But if I were to look at you where you are on my screen right now, watch. I'm looking at you now.
Right.
So to your point, all right, if I'm speaking with you, now think about this. You're a senior executive. Natalie, you know this as a doctor. If I'm speaking with you and giving you any advice or a conversation, it's critical that you feel that I'm looking right at you, as I am now, but I'm not looking at you. So that comes under a category of being comfortable with outsmarting the camera.
And what
So
discipline?
what do I discipline. So what do I do, and what is my tip for that? I put an X at the spot underneath my camera that I should be focusing on.
Good point.
And then on top of the camera, I put pictures of people I love. So right now I'm looking at my friends in a beach scene. I'm looking at somebody I went on vacation with, Hawaii, things that I like. Why? Because in sales, way back when, they would tell you, if you're on a phone call with people, what'd they tell you? Look in a mirror. Because if I smile, you're going to hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
So our mirror right now is the camera.
So what do you think about, see
Right?
right now we have, Paul has this on gallery rather than speaker, which means that I'd be like huge, and because I thought that was disconcerting actually, because I'm enlarged and others faces the whole screen, and other times I want to look at everybody at the same time. So as long as it's not like Hollywood Squares where you have rows of people.
Well, but again, maybe, but
it
go ahead.
depends on what type of conversation you're having, right? If
Exactly.
you're a presentation, then obviously if you're the one that's speaking, then it makes sense that you're the one person who we're viewing. But in this chat conversational setting, it makes sense that we're in a gallery view and I can see everyone's sort of reactions and you can see if someone wants to speak.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
And what I also find myself doing sometimes is switching from one to another. And if I'm on the call with one other person, if you double click, you get a whole different kind of screen share. So it's a matter of being able to manipulate it based on the conversation and based on your comfort level and your level of participation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
I
yes.
think one thing is very important, as people who speak to groups, if I'm thinking about the live events, the in-person events, even in the in-person events, we walk around. I mean, I walk around, maybe others don't, but I walk around. I'm not up front and center. I always walk around. So I will look left, I will look right, and all of that. And transferring that with the limitations that we have online. So on the one hand, we want to look in the camera, but on the other hand, I want to look at Sarah or at Ed.
Right.
And I think combining those two, because I love the idea, of putting pictures up there, but being able to combine those so that Sarah doesn't feel like I'm ignoring her because I'm just staring at the camera up there, right? But she knows I'm looking around, like sort of acknowledging everybody else in the room, and thereby creating almost just through visuals a more interactive experience as well, right?
Excellent point. Yes, excellent. Because you're right, Natalie. As a professional speaker, we go up, we're taught a third, a third, a third, in speaking, make a connection with different faces so that everyone feels that you're, yes. And again, I think it depends on the situation. If I'm speaking to a screen of 45 people,
right,
you're going to include them all, so that's one aspect.
And now a word from our co-sponsors. Our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
Anyway,
What about the issue of mental health, Dr. Natalie? Mental health are the people who are who have a personality, not a defect, but they have a personality of self-deprecation that is just not in their culture to be like we all are right now. They're more reserved, or they just are very uncomfortable with people staring at their face.
I think, and I think Diane can add to that as well. So to me, there are 2 or 3 aspects related to that. Number one, most people in the world we live in today, unfortunately, have a persona. And that's what they bring out. You see that on social media and other places. Now, if somebody really is uncomfortable, then of course what they do, let me demonstrate, is this, right? Okay. That's what they do. They're uncomfortable. Now, the third thing that they can do is, and that where I'll, refer also to Diane, but that's a key aspect also for me always, wear something that I'm comfortable in. So, choose a background that makes me feel comfortable, look at something that is comfortable, put myself on mute in case anything rings. So really set myself up as being as comfortable as I can, because in the world we live today, it's also almost, I don't want to say disrespectful, but I do want to say disrespectful to just turn your camera off, because then nobody knows what you're doing, right? So I think the comfort level, and that goes also to the colors. Like earlier in a meeting, I was wearing purple. I felt more like purple. And then I was like, okay, no, blue. I almost wore blue. I was like, no, today is a blue day. We're talking communication, all that. And then I was like, no, actually, it's a red day. I need to be grounded for this conversation. So, and on the other aspect, somewhat related, there are many people who are ambiverts, right? We are, and I'm saying we because I am one of those. I love my privacy. I love being not on screen. However, when I have to be on screen or have to be up front, then that side kicks in. And that again has to do with the comfort level and the colors, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, the color that I'm going to just segue there a second. The color that you're wearing picks up the logo of your name, doesn't it?
Mhm.
So it's your branded color,
Yes.
Natalie. And
Yes,
so it's
exactly.
so it's extremely complimentary. And so just the visual that Natalie is giving right now is she could be presenting to a group. And I want to go a step further because of course the women, this is a different, it's not a differentiation in a lot of
No.
ways, but there is some. The fold in your sweater is just about what you get away with. All right.
Mhm.
I'd even go and give your right shoulder a little tuck. No, it's okay. Don't get Ed
Yeah,
excited.
I
There
know.
you go.
It's
You know.
yeah, I know. We do
Anyway,
this all the time. Then it's like, oh,
but
where do I do
the
it? Yeah.
point is that when you're on screen, and I always tell people, go look at the anchor, look at the women. You will never see ruffles. You will never see puffs. You will never see anything, scarves, nothing, because you need to be as un like you need to not distract people.
Mhm.
You know, I give you this quick story. I interviewed when I was a young girl. I was about 18 or 19. I was interviewing for a very creative job in a fabulous company, and I wore my favorite earrings. These big things. I thought, oh, they're going to know I'm creative by that. That's how you think when you're young. Anyway, after the interview, I didn't get the job, but the woman said, "Can you just tell me where you got your earrings?" Now I know. Now I know through my work in sensory, my sensory communication, she wasn't hearing me because she was so distracted by those earrings. So you will
Yes.
never see an anchor with large any earrings on for that
Mhm.
matter. And you know, I wear this necklace, that's it. But it's become one
Mhm.
of my signature pieces that I wear along with this. And this I
Right.
decided that a while ago. So that's what I
And
think when you
yeah,
say that.
and let me chime in there because this is something that I had to learn. It's not just about the earrings, but it's also about the background.
Hmm.
You know, years ago I was doing a TV show, online TV show, and because I love books, I was always in front of my bookshelf until finally somebody said, "I'm so distracted trying to figure out what books you're reading." So they weren't looking at me. They were like tilting their head, going, "Oh, what book is that? Let me
You
zoom
see?
in." That's what
Exactly.
they were doing. So ever since then, you know, there are times when I have a different background or don't use a green screen, but it's like I'm very aware of what is behind me or whether there is, you know, maybe a lamp sticking out right here. And that's what you mentioned as well, Diane, right? It's like, what does the background look like? Does it look like I have something coming out of my hair or
Right.
is there something
Right.
sticking? Is that all of those things, right? Because they can be
Right.
distracting.
And this look actually works so well with you with your work. I love that, you know, the sunrise, the moonrise coming in the background. But Sarah, we're going to go to you for a moment
Hmm.
because we don't want you to feel
She
left
goes,
out.
hmm.
Just so you know, we're switching over to you, girl. What? All right. So what help me with understanding and this group is like, what is your line of work?
I am the Director of Business Development for Interconics, which specializes in household goods transport.
Excellent. Okay. So what the first thing I see when I look at at your screen is I love your artwork and I love the pictures in the back, but I want to focus on one or two elements. So the on your left, the picture that's hanging on the wall, is there a window directly in front of you or to your left?
There's a window on the far side.
Okay. So I'm a genius, right? That I knew
Well,
that.
yeah, I have
Okay.
my face
All
in
right.
shade.
So when, you know, and this is certainly not, and please, like, I'm not engaging you for any reason, but to help,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
for the point of the show today, because I've already picked on Ed way too many times. But the thing is, you want to close the blind. You want to always close the blind because you get enough ambient light from your screen to begin with, and especially during the day and at night, sometimes even more. So again, this is a very technological world we live in. We have to sometimes learn to control the luminosity on our screen to lower it so it's not so much in our face. You have such, no, because you're an
No,
executive
Ed was
position.
playing with his lights. Did you see that?
Oh
Ed
no,
turned around playing with his lights.
oh
He's like,
Natalie,
my God.
I'm not missing a trick with
I
Ed.
would get up, but I don't want to do that right now.
I'm not missing a trick with Ed. But what I would advise you is
Yes.
this: you have an executive position, you're on the phone with your clients. Again, just like Natalie said, you don't want to distract people with them looking and saying, "Oh, look at this artwork." No, no, no. You and I can, I'm happy. I love the piece right behind you. That's the burgundy, the vertical piece. Love that. Play with that, move it over. Love the oranges. That's a statement. You're done. You're done. Simply, you're done. All right. And especially I say this, and this is no women on this group, but some of the women I've coached along the way, too much makeup, too much makeup. And the other thing too is now I'm sitting back, and this is because why? I have a new HD camera that I myself am playing with, and I have to learn. So when I want to make a point, I don't move quickly, but you'll see me, I'll put my arms out and I'll very, very, very subtly move closer so that I'm making a point. Or if I'm listening to someone and I want to show them I'm relaxing, I'll sit back, never cross my arms. So that body language does play a big role. What are you thinking, Ed? You're awfully quiet.
Well, I've learned not to interrupt.
Thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. Thank you.
So here, this is a picture. You see my mess behind me?
I
So,
do.
I get really sick and tired of looking at people in front of a bookcase and where everything's really neat and you can't see the dust. But so what I've got is a stack of books in front of that small computer screen back there, which I don't take it away. And then I put a cup of water behind me because if it's in front of me, I'll spill it or something. And then that little light, because when I have this, I've got over here, right over there, a high intensity desk lamp that when I shine it down on my keyboard, it will come up on my face
Right,
and
right.
I'd look yellow. So I reversed it and now I've got it on the ceiling, focused on the ceiling. And this is creating this even Hollywood type light. Whereas before I put this big thing up and you see it's shining on that right there. So
Well, you might need a little powder, and I'm not being no, and I'm not being
I know,
funny.
makeup.
I mean, again, when people go on screen to look
Yeah, right,
natural, you
exactly.
actually need more makeup sometimes to look natural than makeup to be made up. And it is something like what I do sometimes. I put again, for the women, I use a face oil, and I'll just put a very little sheen on it, just so it's enough to make me look like I'm somewhat healthy or feel good, knock wood, but not, not a matte finish. So all of these things you're bringing up are actually critical elements of being online, being in a broadcast environment. And Ed, we're going to get you a sippy cup so that you can keep it in front of you and not worry about spilling it on anything. And
That's right.
we're going to clean up that background a little bit just so
I
that
know.
you can look like the mad scientist PR guy that you are, but you're not going to distract people, as Natalie said, with who's saying, "Oh, what is that Ed's reading over there?"
I know.
You
Well,
know?
I'll show you. I've got this great book here.
What are you
It's
reading?
Daniel Silva.
Oh,
It's called Moscow Rules, and that's Daniel Silva. So anyway, he's written about 20 books, all in the same genre, and he's like John le Carre, the Bourne
the
mysteries.
born, yeah.
So he writes about the secret agent for Mossad, which is the Israeli CIA, and all of their exploits against all the people who hate Israel for whatever the reason. And so, and he weaves in current events with fiction. He's really a master at that. And so I read, and I've got all 20 of his books, and most of them right behind me here, because I go back and I'm reading. So I read this book around 5 or 6 years ago, and I forgot what it was all about. So I'm going back to them and going back into the story, even though I just finished his latest book, which came out at Christmas, and I zipped through it in 2 days, and I was like, oh, now what am I going to read? God, And so I went back in the library here that I've got. Down here, you can't see it, and because they're stacked up. And I said, what am I going to read now? Well, I'll show you here. Wait, see, it's sort of behind me there. You see all that mess over there?
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
We don't want to
see,
see that.
see, it's a
Oh,
big.
there's Paul. Hi, Paul. Oh, I think.
No,
all
that
right.
was
Oh,
me.
that was you in the mirror. That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a mirror.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You are.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Okay.
see it. I see
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
and over here is the door, and then and then that's the kitchen.
Well,
over
you know
there.
what? You bring up a really good point with this. Thank you for the 360 is again what's needed now is the fact, or what's to be understood now is the no two situations are alike.
Mm-hmm.
No two situations are identical. And so, it's a little overwhelming for the person who is not comfortable. And Natalie, you brought this up. It's interesting. I have a client who I spoke with. I did a presentation last week, and out of, I would say, 70% of the screen was dark.
Yep.
Hmm.
And I actually said it to them at the end because I can. And I said to them, I said, this is an interactive session. It's engaging. I said, for me to see your eyes, to Sarah's point, for me to see your eyes, for me to see your level of engagement, your interest, is critical to the success of it. And so I couldn't say you were rude, but it's not rude. It's camera. It's more than shyness. It's almost a fear of delving into a world that people are not comfortable with, and all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
Which is
So
yeah.
I need to be announcer here and say it's 47 minutes past the hour. So Diane, why don't you take it from here and tell us what we need to take away from here.
So I think what we do is we take away 5 tips. Is one, no two situations are alike, and it takes all of us, myself, everyone, time to adjust to the technology that is changing every nanosecond. The best way to do it is trial by error. Lighting. Make sure that your lighting is appropriate, your sound is appropriate. Be aware of what your background is based on the environment that you are engaged in while you're online. Dressing from the waist up is great, but you need to dress your environment as well to be suitable. And I'll even go so far to say, if you're on that Zoom happy hour with your friends, don't sit on your bed. Your friends are don't sit on your bed, because I don't want to see you on your bed, because and I had this happen to me. That's disrespectful to me. And I don't want to have that level of comfort online. It doesn't read well, no matter what the situation is.
Why not ask people to stand up? Have you ever done a stand-up Zoom meeting?
Oh, don't do that.
Well, I'm going to say this to you. I actually like to stand up in some of my presentations.
I do as well.
But again, that takes a green screen. It takes a different kinds of camera positioning. It takes having a broadcast studio environment to do a stand-up presentation. And Natalie, right, they're great. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I do that when I give my talks. I usually stand up because I can't, I move my hands like crazy, but I gotta move, and I move in and out, and you just got to be careful with the green screen. But I do think everything that you said is so important, Diane. And the only caveat I would put on there is, if it's a meeting that is really like a workshop where you're supposed to be honest and open and ready to dive in, because that's what I've noticed, then sometimes you just want to wear those jeans or those whatever tights you have and an old t-shirt, and in those instances, yes, you may be asked to get up. But that's a different environment. If you're presenting, I think it's really, really important. But I also love what you said, Ed, about standing up, because I think we've all heard those stories where somebody forgets that their camera is on and they're getting up, and you never know what happens, the bunny slippers and all of that. Love my bunny slippers. So I think everything that Diane said is so crucial
Thank you.
in this environment, especially for those of us who have a position and a brand. And I'm not going to go down this road, Diane, but we know even if you don't have a business, you have a brand. So whatever you put on the screen, that's you.
Well, and this is exactly what I was pointing out. And Sarah, I'm happy to work with you offline, and help you. And Ed, I'm not going to give up on you no matter what. But let's just think about this. So you have your effectiveness on screen and understanding voice and visual, what I call visual dynamics and video quality. You have your personal comfort with the camera, little tips and tricks. You also have stage direction. Always be prepared. Even if you have a certain level of timing, start with the end and work yourself back because it goes fast, casual conversation. Learn what Zoom does. Learn different tips and tricks. They're changing every day. Home offices, windows, lighting, positioning. Sometimes I just worked with someone this week. All she did was turn her desk this way and it changed the entire perception.
Yeah.
And Ed, I really like that black door, by the way, to your left. Okay, so I'm gonna get, yes, that one. No, the black one. Keep going. Here, look at he's so funny.
No, this is the wall.
No,
That's,
the other. What, didn't you have a black door the other side there? A black closet door, maybe?
oh yeah, closet. Yeah, it's
I really
it's
like that.
mahogany.
Yes, but I like that. Well,
Yeah.
there we don't want the kitchen, but I like that door there. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, the point is that find a point of interest in your home that's not distracting, like a bookshelf, like Natalie pointed out, but something that could be unique to yourself. This background is representative of the deck that my media presence program is. So it's the branding of it, which is why I used it for today. And last but not least, remember, I'm big into the sensory aspect of being on the screen. I have a water bottle, I have a kaleidoscope, I have a squeegee juggling ball, anything that's a tactile experience for your physical body will help your mental, emotional state stay tuned while you're online.
Yes. Awesome.
That is cool. Diane, why don't you talk about your website and how
well, thank you. Well, it's my
people can
name. It's
find-
my name. It's DianeDevitt.com. I can be reached through that, contacted through that. I'm a consultant. I'm a speaker. I'm delving into this virtual world of training because after being in production with meetings and events for 30 years, I realized that with everyone could use a little direction. Everyone, all of us, myself, I take it all the time in this new world as it's changing, and we can all improve ourselves day by day. So,
Well, I'm going to take away about the idea of staring not at the green light, but at about an inch, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to clean up my act.
well, you know what, Ed? Can I ask you something, Ed? Look at that.
Sure.
Do that again, and let me take a photo of you, and I will send it. Natalie and Sarah. Did you see the difference?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right here.
No. Just repeat exactly what you just said. That you're going to look an inch, about an inch and a half below your camera.
Yeah, I'm going to look at that gray space.
Put your finger
which is
down.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good. All right, now. All right, now go ahead. Try it again. I love this guy. What?
Look at this gray space just about an inch below the green light. And then I'm not looking at you guys. And so I don't know whether they're reflecting on my eyeglasses or not. And here I am. And I'm going to also clean act my credenza behind me. And there's a black dot on my screen. Can you see that? No, I can't.
No, we can't see that. Only you can see that. Only you. But yeah. No, again. But yeah, it made a big difference, Ed. I'm very proud of you.
So please come back and let's do chapter. Okay, let's do another show.
That would be great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll make some revisions, and I also will start looking about an inch below the green light there. And I have no idea what everyone else looks like, but at least, I'll look like I know what I'm doing, which is, partly what counts.
Right. And here's another tip. If you're on Zoom and you go into your view, you technically are clicking, you're clicking speaker view, but you're in gallery view. So if you have, like, I'm in the big spotlight now, you should have everyone's little images on the top of the screen. What another trick you can do is just grab the toolbar part of that on top of the images, grab that part and shift to whoever's speaking under your camera. And if you move your entire Zoom screen up, so you're not in full screen view.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not in full screen view. So if you actually go in, you can just go into view. If you're in full screen, exit full screen. And I also find that minimizing the actual Zoom screen helps me to focus on the person. Try it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, because if you're in full screen, you're just like you're spread out there. But if you're narrowed down, it makes a really big difference, right?
Dr. Natalie, thank you. We'll see you on the TV.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry, I
you.
gotta run.
Bye.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Diane, thank you so much for doing this. And
You're welcome.
so it's Diane with 2 N's.
Yes.
DIANNE DEVITT.com. Right.
Thank you, Ed. It's always
Sarah,
a pleasure.
it's great to have you back.
Thank you again for the participation.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Ed. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.